Hey, this is Scott, and today we're going to take a quick first look at the Laowa 105mm f2 STF lens. If you're new to this channel, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my other videos and subscribe if you want to see more in the future. So Laowa has been making a lot of quite interesting and unique lenses, and I was really interested in that, so I reached out to them and they sent me this lens to review, so thank you to them. But of course, this will be my own personal opinions on this lens, as will every other video in the future about this lens. Also, I wanted to compare this to the Canon 135mm f2 lens. I thought it'd be a really good head-to-head comparison for this lens. I will also compare it to the 85, but I didn't have the 135mm on hand, so I want to say thank you to Okikame in Okinawa for lending me this lens to check out for this review. Be sure to check them out if you're looking to rent a camera or a lens in Japan. They have very reasonable prices and they're also very friendly. So I will put their link on screen now and down in the description below. For this video, we're mostly going to focus on the build and design of the Laowa lens, but I will be comparing it a little bit to the Canon lens, and also in future videos, which I have coming very soon, I will be comparing it as far as image quality, sharpness, bokeh, everything goes to the 135 and also the 85 1.2, since I think these lenses, again, will be used in similar situations. When you first pick this up, you'll probably notice a few things. It's pretty heavy. It's not overly heavy, but it's definitely heavier than the Canon. It's also solid metal. It feels very well built. Everything moves as smoothly as I would hope it to. It just feels really well put together. It's not weather sealed, but neither is the Canon 135 or the 85 for that matter. Nothing moves when you zoom. The barrel does not extend. The inside, the glass will move a little bit, but it never comes out past the edge of the lens. And the same for the rear element. It will move as you zoom, but it will never stick out from the back of the lens. It doesn't even come close, actually. The 85mm, for example, the glass is really right there. And a lot of people don't like that because they feel they have to be very delicate with it. When you go all the way in, there seems to be a little gap between the inside of the lens and the rear element, but you can't really see any exposed wiring or anything like that. And the same for the front. When you zoom all the way to infinity, you can see a little extra space between the front element and the barrel of the lens, but it doesn't seem like anything that I would be worried about. Again, this is not weather sealed, so that's not really like an issue there. The next thing you'll probably notice is that this has two aperture rings. One of them is marked with f-stops and the other is marked with t-stops. The reason for this is that the design of this lens is including a apodization element, which kind of smooths the edges of the bokeh, the out of focus area, to give a really soft out of focus effect. The way that it does this is using an element inside of the lens, which when you look through it, you can actually kind of see that around the edges, it's almost like a neutral density filter, a graduated neutral density filter. So although the opening size of the aperture is equivalent to an f2, the actual amount of light that comes through is what you would expect from a 3.2 lens. So the T3.2 is talking about the amount of light that comes through the lens, whereas the f-stop is talking about the size of the opening. If you want to estimate the depth of field or something like that, then you'll want to use the f-stop ring. But if you want to calculate exposure or match the exposure to another lens or something like that, you will want to use the t-stop ring. There are actually two aperture diaphragms inside of the lens as well to match these two rings here. The t-stop diaphragm has more blades than the f-stop diaphragm. I can't remember the exact number, I'll put it on screen now. Both of these rings do move very smoothly, although the T-stop ring is de-clicked. It clicks into place at T3.2, so you kind of don't accidentally bump it out of there when you're using the f-stop ring. But from there, it will move smoothly, which is nice if you're doing video. The f-stop ring does have clicks at each stop. There are only whole stops to 2.8, f4, f5.6. There's nothing in between. You could estimate it if you wanted to, but it's only marked and only clicks at those full stops. I do wish that it clicked into place a little bit more securely. There's not a whole lot of space on the outside of this lens that doesn't move, so it's kind of easy to accidentally move one of these rings when you're holding it. On the back of the lens, there is absolutely nothing besides the mount. There are no contacts whatsoever. This is the Canon version. I'm not sure about the Nikon or Sony versions, but on the Canon version at least, there are no contacts whatsoever, which means that it will not communicate with your camera. What this means is that you will not have any data on your images telling you which f-stop you're at or which focal length, but it's obviously only one focal length. For actual practical use, it probably doesn't matter. You're gonna pick the image you like based on the way it looks. The focus ring has a very, very long throw. Not quite 360 degrees, maybe closer to 270, I don't know. But it's very long, which is good in my opinion. It allows you very fine control of the focus. With an f2 105mm lens, you're gonna have a very shallow depth of field, so being able to very finely adjust your focus is, I think, very critical. And of course, it takes time to go from one extreme to the other, from infinity focus to closest focus, but you're probably not gonna be using this lens to shoot anything that requires you to make extreme changes in the focus anyway. So I don't see that as a problem. I definitely enjoy the resistance, the feel, the weight, the distance, everything about this focus ring. It's very, very easy and very, very nice to use. It can focus down to 0.9 meters, which is pretty much average. And there are some markings on here as well to help with your depth of field calculations if you want to use them. On the front of the lens, we have a 67mm filter thread, and again, it's all metal. There is a lens hood for this, but Laowa didn't send it to me. I heard that a lot of people have complaints about it. They said that its quality really doesn't match the rest of the lens. It's kind of a pain to click on there. It doesn't quite snap into place the way it should, stuff like that. So I can't really make a comment about that. I've been using it with my lens hood from the 100mm macro, the Canon one, and it fits on there just fine. It is a little bit awkward, but it snaps into place just fine, and to me it feels like actually it works. So if you want a lens hood for this, you could just buy a lens hood for the Canon 100mm macro, and it should work just fine. It snaps on there okay, and it doesn't seem to interfere with the photos in any way, shape, or form as far as I can tell. So just in closing, like I said, this is a very, very solidly built lens. Besides the fact that it's not weather sealed, it feels like it's built to last. Everything on it moves very, very smoothly. My one complaint, again, is that I wish that these aperture rings clicked into place a little bit more securely so you wouldn't accidentally move them, or that there was a little bit more space to grab the lens without touching them. I would also appreciate having some contacts on the back here just to put some information with the files. Otherwise, I've really, really enjoyed using this lens. The manual focus is very easy to use once you get used to it. Definitely have to get used to it, and you're not going to get as many keepers as you will with an autofocus lens, but that's not this lens's fault. It's a lot of fun actually to pull your image into focus, and it sounds cliche, but it really does make you stop and think about your composition and everything just a little bit more, and it really feels like a little bit more of a process. If you need autofocus, then you need autofocus. That's just an obvious thing, but if you have the time to take with this lens, I really think you'll enjoy using it. I do have some more videos coming soon comparing the image quality and just the overall rendering of this lens compared to the Canon 135 f2 and the 85 1.2, as well as a full review of this lens. So if you want to see anything or hear anything in particular, please let me know down in the comments. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, thank you for watching.